Ukrainian drone operators deploy a kamikaze drone to destroy a Russian tank. Another precise strike brings the tank to a complete halt. A final strike to the open hatch causes the Russian tank to burst into flames. Ukraine maintains dominance on this battlefield. Now, these Russian troops fail to shoot down the drone, and the first strike stops the Russian vehicle. A reconnaissance drone captures one wounded Russian soldier crawling toward nearby vegetation. Ukrainian drone operators focus to destroy their vehicle to prevent their escape. The explosion set the vehicle on fire, and the flames spread rapidly, ultimately igniting their hidden ammunition and causing a massive explosion. In February 2025, in Novi Kamar village in the Donetsk region, Russian forces launched a large offensive. The attack was carried out in 2 columns using 10 armored vehicles. Many of these vehicles were turtle tanks and armored personnel carriers. Some of the turtle tanks were fitted with mine-clearing equipment. Ukrainian forces used kamikaze drones in coordination with artillery to destroy the column. The initial artillery strikes broke the enemy's formation, after which the vehicles attempted to maneuver to become harder targets for further strikes and to avoid destruction. However, one of the vehicles in the column were hit by artillery and became immobilized, and the rest of the column dispersed in different directions. This action did not bring success to Russian forces, and drone and artillery strikes continued to hit the vehicles as they moved away from the initial engagement area. They attempted to identify weak points in the Ukrainian lines where they could advance without sustained artillery fire. The vehicles regrouped into formation and confirmed all 3 remained operational. However, even a brief stop made them vulnerable, as stationary targets are significantly easier for artillery and drone operators to strike than moving ones. The lead vehicle was damaged by an artillery strike and began to emit smoke while continuing to move forward. The crew was able to regain control of the situation and restore normal operation of the vehicle. The turtle tanks managed to get closer to Ukrainian positions, but a precise hit from a kamikaze drone halted the first tank. The second tank, seeing the lead vehicle immobilized, turned around and attempted to withdraw, but the third tank continued advancing. As the second vehicle tried to maneuver around the third, the tanks collided. The crew of the third tank abandoned their vehicle and boarded an armored personnel carrier, as the tank was likely damaged or assessed as unsafe to continue operating. The final vehicle managed to move only a few miles before it was destroyed by a drone strike. With the vehicle halted, a second kamikaze drone is already in position to strike and destroy it completely. As the vehicle was destroyed, the remaining infantry scattered across the open field, and Ukrainian drone operators carried out precision strikes against them, leaving no survivors. After the infantry was eliminated and all of the vehicles were halted, Ukrainian drone operators focused on destroying the vehicles so they could not be returned to the battlefield. This is important because it prevents the enemy from recovering, repairing, and reusing the equipment. Overall, this counter-operation was well executed and successful for Ukrainian forces. In March 2025, a Ukrainian Leopard 1A5 tank from the 5th Tank Battalion fired across a body of water at Russian positions, with targeting corrections provided by the 35th Marine Brigade. A Leopard 1A5 tank can fire at targets several kilometers away, allowing it to engage from across the bay. A reconnaissance drone identified the impacts. One final strike destroys the target, and the impact is visible from the tank's perspective in the captured footage. In this captured footage, Ukrainian assault troops observe from the trenches as a Leopard 2A6 tank operates under enemy artillery fire. This illustrates the effectiveness of the Leopard tank on the battlefield and its support role for infantry personnel. The enemy is positioned in nearby bushes, while the Leopard tank remains exposed. The tank maintains constant movement to reduce exposure to anti-tank weapons. The Bradley is also present on the battlefield behind the tank, operating in support of infantry, while the tank provides heavier armor protection compared to the Bradley. The tank leads the advance, engaging enemy positions with 120 mm NATO standard ammunition. The Leopard 2 A6 tank typically features two 7.62 mm machine guns, which are effective in this type of mission against infantry. The main gun can be used to destroy fortified positions in trenches, while the presence of the tank itself also has a significant psychological effect on enemy infantry.
Фосфор вроде бы, да? Попало по нашим.
After the Leopard tank has completed its part of the mission, engaging enemy positions and reducing the threat, it is then up to the infantry to complete the operation and gain control of the area. In March 2025, Ukrainian drone operators detected two Russian T-90 tanks west of the village of Nadiivka in the Donetsk region. These two tanks were engaged with multiple kamikaze drones, as the T-90 has heavy armor, particularly at the rear, where there is a combination of composite materials and explosive reactive armor. However, these T-90 tanks did not survive the Ukrainian kamikaze drone strikes, and the tank crews scattered across the forested area, where they became easy targets for drone operators, bringing the operation to an end. In April 2025, near the village of Malashapkivka in the Kharkiv region, the 15th Karadag unit of the National Guard planted an improvised explosive device made from a TM-62 anti-tank mine at a Russian dugout. A reconnaissance drone captured the entire operation. Ukrainian soldiers carefully approached the target. One placed the explosive and threw it into the Russian position, while another secured the area. After placing the explosive, they withdraw as quickly as possible, and shortly afterward it detonates, destroying the Russian position. In February 2025, Ukrainian forces repelled a mechanized assault by Russian units attempting to break through defensive positions using armored personnel carriers and tanks. Ukrainian drone operators responded with kamikaze drones, and the first BTR-82A vehicles were destroyed and engulfed in flames. As the vehicles are struck by kamikaze drones, the infantry attempt to find shelter in nearby vegetation. Relentless drone strikes destroyed all enemy tanks and armored personnel carriers. Several vehicles burned, and the battlefield became a graveyard of Russian armored vehicles, with wreckage scattered across the field and remains visible throughout the area. Elsewhere, Russian forces attempted a similar assault using armored vehicles. Ukrainian FPV kamikaze drones struck a BMP-2, a T-80 BVM tank, a BTR-82A, and several other vehicles, successfully suppressing enemy resistance. In February 2025, the movement of a Russian group of 4 was detected as they moved toward cover inside a building. However, a vampire attack hexacopter dropped a TM-62 anti-tank mine onto the structure. The resulting explosion killed the occupants in their hiding place. In this final footage, on the first day of the invasion, Russian forces destroyed their own Ka-52 helicopter before retreating. It serves as a summary of the course of the invasion from its beginning to the present day. If you stayed until the end, feel free to see more footage from the world's most critical conflict zones. Stay informed, stay engaged, and we'll see you next time on